Hey, you guys. I wanted to do the last video over because I want to tell you guys something. Many years ago, as I was 9 years old, I started into the business. I was uh, picked to be in little small parts as a kid. Okay, um, such as that on Columbiana, and it was other kids that didn't get to do it. They were like, no, this person couldn't. They won over this person. So after that, my father became a target. I was 9 years old, and he and his girlfriend at the time was she didn't realize, that by me getting into the field, and my father already he had a good job, he owned property and everything. We didn't need nothing from the music industry or from the movie industry. We were just putting me into doing something that that might interest me. Plus, my auntie was Maya Angelou. That was my dad's sister. So we were basically just in the I was looking outside. We were basically just in the arts period. Then I had cousins that played the piano in church and just all kind of stuff. And they grew up and made movies and films and plays and so on. So I wanted to tell y'all this. They targeted my father when I was 9 years old, and his girlfriend let one of the guys in the house, and he would be over with my brother. Then when they would come visit, he came over, even though he was not a friend of my father's. He would be there because my dad's girlfriend at the time was saying that it was her brother. This man came in. He's in prison now though, but he came over, and he was there with my brother then, and they were basically all the while trying. I would go outside to the back in the backyard. My father made me up a nice little playhouse, and I would go and go out there and play, and it would be people like a grown woman but the size of a child in my playhouse. She was holding a KNIFE. I'm like, oh my God. And just so happened I looked, I could feel something wasn't right around there. Anyway, but what I wanted to tell you guys is that everybody that grew up knew that we had something in life. We already had what we needed. As far as when we got older now and became an adult, then we had to, of course, go to college or find a job or whatever we were going to do, right? Or open a business. But like for instance, art or whatever, if we were good at that, cooking. So what I wanted to tell y'all is that kind of feeling, because you think you're in a nice neighborhood, you're always going to be watched. No matter if you have any kind of money, you're going to be watched. There's any kind of success, if you're living good, you always got to watch your back. I'm telling you, that girl that did that, she's with a group of people. It's a group of people with her that she's on running with. And I believe they think that people are trying to take over the state. Now, mind you, when I first seen this particular chick, she was driving down the street in a lowrider with a bunch of dudes, and I was walking down the street to McDonald's to get how old was my daughter? 4, to get her from daycare or Head Start, and it wasn't far, so I'm walking, leaving a guy friend's house, and she and her friends pulled in my face, and I looked at the car and it was straight dead at me, and I'm like, now I'm as low profile as you could possibly get in the arts. I'm walking, I'm minding my business, I'm in everyday clothes. Why would you point at me? Why would you point something at me? Oh, not to mention I'm on my way to McDonald's. So they thinking, okay, she got something because she on her way to McDonald's. What's a Happy Meal? $2. I'm on my way to McDonald's and picking her up from school because her father would have her the rest of the day. And this lady points at, you know what at me in the car. And I'm like, what the hell was that about? And a little while later down the way, kids were coming home from school. This was just so weird about it. Kids were coming home from school. And this lady, that's her. That's her. That's her, or it looked just like her. You know how I know? Because she always wearing wigs, because I don't think she has any hair. I used to get my hair done with one of that looked kind of like her too. But I don't know if it's her for sure. But I'm telling you, she did the same thing to me. And as the kids were walking down the street in LA off of Martin Luther King, the McDonald's right there on Normandy, they pointed a thing at me, and those white buildings just right on the side, right next to McDonald's. It was a boy that lived there, and he was walking down the street coming after me, and somehow they swooped back around and they shot him. Oops, I didn't want to say that word, but they put one in him, and he was like, they shot me, and I was like, oh my God. She was really out to get somebody. She was a teenager. And so I'm telling y'all, it is not nothing about you posting and thinking everything is cute because you take a picture of your little yellow skin. People do not care. Okay. That shocked me so badly. But see, y'all was all up in a whirlwind running all over the country trying to make y'all popular, stealing, doing all this stuff. So you don't know that these people are really bad. These are some really bad people. And they won't stop to coming after you. You got to lay yourself low. You can't be like that. You can't be running around and picture perfect and all this stuff. Life is not like that. I wanted to let y'all know that because, they had acting like, they did nothing wrong. They've been doing a lot of wrong to people. And I'm telling you, these people is not playing. They is not talking. You is not going to be living in no neighborhood and doing all people wrong. You're not going to be doing that. These people is not playing with you. They're not playing. You're going to either have to do something to them or they're going to do something to you. And somebody going to jail. But that's what happened to my father. You walking around thinking, oh, I got all this. So what? You don't have what you saying you have anyway. There's no way unless you done knock somebody off. But just for we looked for houses. I lived in big houses all my life with my father. My father was an Air Force pilot. We lived in big houses. Even after he came out of prison, he still got back up and being CEOs of companies and stuff. But I wanted to tell you that they were watching us then. They were watching us the day that Tupac came over to our house for a 4th of July barbecue. We had a big old house then. He was working with me. He was 16 and I was 21, about to be 21. And he came over to our house. I invited him. He had his whole posse with him. And somebody was watching our house then. I drove out of the house and seen the dude. And I said, Dad, that's the same, I seen that dude. I told you that had did my mom like that. Why is he around? How did he find us? Not knowing Tupac may have been a public person then. He might have been a public person then. I don't know. But all I know is that he worked every day. And that was the first job I worked with him. The next job I worked with him, he might have been 20 and I was 24. And they followed us to that job. They followed us. They messed with my car. They came into the building, and I was like, just so happened I seen the car when I was pulling in, full of people, and I'm like, what are they doing? You got to come all the way in the gate and come through the back and get buzzed in, or know the code to get in. No, this chick walks in after somebody else put a code in. Instead of that person saying, hey, no, do you work here? You got to put your own code in. She let them in. This one is the look around. So I caught it when I walked in to the from the dining room for putting my coat down. I seen her, and I didn't know who she was. I closed the door behind her because I'm there, Pac is there, and I'm just and we had already recorded in Compton by then. He was must have been 20, I was 24. So and we recorded in Compton. I was 21, 21, 22. So that's what I wanted to tell y'all. These people, they had been watching us all along. And then she walked out the door. They finally got her. Even though I told the supervisor didn't say nothing. She just looked like, oh well, they not getting in. No, they had actually got in. They were actually coming in on us. What, they was gonna rob everybody that was at the job? Y'all gotta be careful of what y'all be posting, what y'all be saying. Honey, when I tell you, you guys better stop faking and shaking and watch yourself, because these people will be after you. You can't pretend to be nobody else. You can't live pretending to be somebody else. Okay? That's not going to get you. You're not going to be safe. Pretending to be somebody else is not what you should be doing. You should be being yourself, not pretending to be someone else, because people are watching you and they know good and well that nobody lives like that. They know good and well no billionaires, anybody else lives like that. All smiles all day long. Okay, I had to tell y'all about that. They came after my father. They came and he ended up having a, he popped one, but he didn't. He pewed one, but dudes, they still was coming. They were still coming, and there was a bunch of them. So I want to let y'all know about that, honey. Don't never think all these little pictures and all this stuff is real. All these little articles is real. They're not. They fooling themselves. They would rather put you and make it seem like LA is a bad area, but you're doing all this outrageous stuff, knowing that the stuff is not real. What you're doing, you don't have a job. You've never worked a job, but you want to act like you're this big old what you call it. The stuff that you're doing, my sisters have done it. My kids have done it. Many